And then on the top one, I'm going to press Control G to group them. Now, now we have our fake layer mask set up, and what we're going to do is get the gradient. We're going to choose linear, and we're going to choose black to white, and I may have to play with this to remember what I did, but once again I'm going to hold down the control key and click on here to get a selection of that layer. Then I'm going to click on the layer mask because we're going to be working on the layer mask. This is a much more difficult skill, and hopefully I'm not going to go in too much detail. Hopefully you've picked up some of these skills in previous lessons. You don't have to make this selection in the full version of Photoshop when you do the mask. This is just something you have to do in Photoshop Elements. I'm going to click on here, make sure I'm on the mask. I'm going to start at the top, I believe, and go down about, well, all the way to probably the bottom of that L. And you can see it's backwards. Click undo. I told you I'd have to practice. Go up here and click reverse, which just reverses the white and the black. Because remember, white reveals, so right now we can see it all because the letters are in white, and black covers up. And so now we're going to do this again. You might want to hold down your shift key to make a straight line. Would help if I was in the right layer. Let's select the mask, hold down the shift key so my line is straight, and there you go. You can see now I'm going to hit Control D, and you have got some reflective text going on there. It actually makes the next steps I'm going to show you a little bit harder to do it this way, but it does give it a whole different kind of look there. If I want to hit my control key and get that selection again, maybe I don't want to go down as far. Control D, so that might be a little bit better of a reflection there. But that is how you do it the non-destructive way, because as you saw, I just went back and redid it. See, I didn't hold down my shift key, so this G is showing a little bit too much. So I'm going to make that selection again, make sure I'm on my mask, hold down my shift key, and do this one more time. Control D. So that's why it's non-destructive. I can keep going back and playing with that. And changing how that looks if I want. But let's hide these and move on to the next step for now, using the destructive way. The next step that you would do is to give this a blur, because the reflective text, the reflection is never as clear as the original. And so we are going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I wouldn't blur it too much, but see, you can see that there's the original. And anywhere I think from 1 to 2 is enough. And click OK, and you can see that already changed it up a little bit. And then you can lower the opacity to that layer a little bit too. Now if you're going to be using the non-destructive method, you're going to be applying those to this layer here. And so you would apply the Gaussian blur and lower the opacity. But you can see when I lowered the opacity, it actually made that darker. So you may then be stuck with, let's see what happens when I lower the opacity to this one. Ah, there we go. See, I told you it made it a little harder. So I'm actually um, lowering the opacity to this layer here, but yet I'm blurring this layer here. Yeah, it's good. You could do it if you wanted to, but I actually go for the easy way. So this is not all. There are several more things you need to do for the reflective text. One thing that you would need to do is actually in the background, the lighting of the background helps. I have several things to show you down here that I already did. Here is just a gradient on a background. Now you can see when I apply that, we need to lower that opacity some more. Maybe that's a little too much. I don't know. You just got to play with it. But immediately upon just having that gradient background, it made it look a whole lot better. Here's some more things that you can do. Here's a black background. Oh, you can see I didn't get this down here very well. So I'm actually, when I did my rectangular marquee tool, I didn't maybe make it big enough. So I'm going to make this bigger. Feather 80 and hit delete again. There. That took care of that. So just having a black background actually makes this look a lot better. There are some other tricks too. If you create a sort of like a wall so that there's a line going where these two meet and the wall would be on the back and the floor would be here, that is also very effective. Let me see. I added a gradient to just the top layer. Let's move that up so it matches that plane. And now you can see immediately that how much better that and realistic that made that look. You don't need it exactly on that plane. You can bring it up or down. Up looks a little better. There. I also did some other things with it. I had this digital scrapbooking paper of Flurgs, and this is actually what I ended up doing. And I have a gradient on the bottom and the top layers in a radial. And that's what I did with mine. So let me show you just how to make those too. You're going to have to go back to the gradient tutorial to really learn how to do this. But I selected color. Here's out of my paper. We're just going to use this green that's here. And I'm going to use my selection tool and just select the upper part of this. And I'm on a new layer with nothing on it. Select your gradient tool, choose foreground to transparent, and then choose radial gradient. And I actually, even though this is selected up here, I started way down here about in the middle of the bottom, and I went up, and it created this, which is not correct. Undo. I got that reverse checked. Let's try it again. And go straight up. And there, now you can see I have the transparent going out here, and I just have a little bit of that green highlighting it behind it. I don't think I went high enough. Let's go a little higher. And there you go.